So let's talk round 2 of the Champions Cup. I am focusing in on the challenge of the English teams in these pool stages, trying to focus down a bit because there's so many games going on. Yes, I know there's other big games happening in these pool stages. I'm going to focus in on all of them when we get to the knockouts because otherwise it's just too many. And I think the snapshot is a decent round for English teams, some big wins, most notably Saracens, Northampton, but some losses as well. And I think the other story is there's only 4 rounds in these pool matches, but still sides are not taking it fully seriously, or they're definitely using certain games to rest and rotate players, where I think the idea was slimming down to just 4 games would mean that sides field first choice teams for all those 4 games, but it's not happening. Now I understand you need to rotate your squad in the season, but this is meant to be the pinnacle of the club game, and it's not really having the desired effect. Let me know your thoughts on it, but certainly some South African teams, some French teams, and Bath and English team all doing it, so everyone's pretty much guilty here. Anyway, let's get into the games. So the first game of the round involving an English team was Sale 29, Racing 92-7. A really good performance for Sale. They were buzzing. The rugby paper that dropped through my door was saying that, no, Roebuck should play for England. He's playing that well. Ben Curry was buzzing after the match. Ben Curry was absolutely amazing. And yeah, they deserved the win, but like a lot of these French sides away from home, their team is very different personnel-wise, to the home team. They tried hard, but they also looked really disjointed as well. Ironically, a number of those away players, if you like, were English players featuring for the Stuart Lancaster's team. His son was starting at fly half and was pretty poor, to be honest. Henry Arundel on the wing kind of just stands around a bit, and that's kind of what he did when he was picked for England. He looked fantastic in the club game, but then didn't really go hunting for the ball, didn't have the complete game, and that seems to be the way for him. The young second row Junior Kapoko, though, I think is absolutely immense, and he's going to be great. He's already a monster, but, it was in a losing cause. So anyway, this much changed racing team, pretty woeful, and Sale had their first choice team out, and they had George Ford back at 10, Cowan Dick at hooker, and that really, really helped. And indeed, if you play your first choice team, the lesson in this round is you tend to win. So that takes the edge off this group stage a bit because these weakened teams were getting pounded. But that's a lesson. If you want to progress in the Champions Cup, you've got to take it more seriously. So Sale, great win. Tom Roebuck, like we said, imperious in the air, great finishing in the form of his life, and surely he's going to be involved in the Six Nations in some form. In a later video, I'll talk about England picks, but him and Tommy Freeman seem to be vying for the same place there. That big, strong winger who's great in the air. Roebuck, a bit bigger, a bit stronger, maybe a bit better in the air, so that's going to be interesting. And like I said, Ben Curry forcing himself forward towards the Six Nations slot in the squad at least. But anyway, good performance for Sale. That's what they needed. In round 3, Sale are up against the Stormers, and it's probably going to be the first choice Stormers, hopefully with a few guys back from injury as well. So that's going to be tough. Then they're at home against Toulon, and Toulon look pretty good as well. So it's going to be tough to qualify, but this gave them a really good chance. Big bonus point win. The next game was pretty similar. It was Leicester 56, Sharks 17, and Leicester had a really good performance, but Sharks had a much weakened team as well. After the game, Sharks coach John Plumtree defended his decision. He left lots of his players at home, but he said, no, the players aren't robots, they need a rest. But Michael Checker didn't have much sympathy. But yeah, if you don't send your strongest side, don't complain when you get thumped. And Leicester looked really, really good. Very strong in the scrum. Strong maul, and they got their attack going as well, which was the element that I wanted to see from Leicester. So they're shaping up very, very nicely. Anyway, at the beginning, 2 big mauls put them in the lead. And pure disaster from the Sharks as their right winger, I think, tapped the ball back in play from a kick for penalty. But none of the other Sharks players are chasing back. They're just standing around. And Ollie Hassel-Collins does chase the kick, and it just falls straight towards him. So that was a disaster. And then Cater just pissed and handed off Labuschagne, the big flanker. So that was embarrassing as well. So just a disaster all round for the Sharks. But yeah, rampant from Leicester puts them in a decent position. They know they're at home to Ulster in round 3, and that is winnable, and that should be enough to progress. This team is looking pretty powerful. They're looking very together. They know what they're doing. They're going decent in the Premiership and now in the Champions Cup. So great win for team spirit for Leicester. They're on the up. Then after 2 good wins for English sides, we had a pretty big defeat for Bristol against the mighty La Rochelle, who look to be whipping themselves into form, ready for a charge for this Champions Cup. They've got the size, they've got the power. They absolutely can do it. Bristol did pretty well. They've got a few injuries, but they were as strong as they could be away from home, so fair play for that. And for 50 minutes, they were pretty close. They scored a great try. The crossfield kick to Jack Bates was amazing. His finish was sensational, so that's great. He played in the under-20s, I think, at outside centre. They use him a bit on the wing, but I wonder where he'll finish up in his career if he could make a charge for England. That would be interesting. But essentially, that power of La Rochelle just squashed the annoying Bears. That amazing game that the Bears play, they're just too powerful. But T2 is an absolute beast. The flanker, he barrels over with his barrel-like physique. And Bristol just start to tire, missing some key tackles, which you have to do against that sort of size. The outside centre, Suteni, he hit a big line, knocked off a few tackles. I think maybe Luatua was one of them, not like Bristol there. And they just got powered through at the end there. Bristol, I think they've got an effective game plan, as we know, in the Premiership, but we've seen up against two top teams, Leicester round one, now La Rochelle, it's just not quite good enough. They've kind of hit a bit of a ceiling, and La Rochelle are serious cup contenders. When you have players like Will Skelton around, Aldreet, Dante, these are international quality players, amazing players, you're going to do well if you click, and they're looking pretty decent. So for Bristol, round three, they've got to beat Benetton, but that might not be enough. They might have to win away against Clermont. That would be amazing if they do, but the European dream is hanging by a thread. Then the big win of the round for the English teams is Northampton, 30 points. The Bulls at home, 21 points. And let's not beat around the bush here. The Bulls were pretty decent, and they're going to be kicking themselves because they couldn't finish when they were in the chance. And it was a fully stacked Bulls team, as you expect, at home. Interesting to see how sparsely populated the stadium as well, but they play in big stadiums, but let me know what you think there. Anyway, Saints, they've said it could boost them. They're going to make a run in this cup. They're feeling good, but again, don't get too carried away because it wasn't like it was dominant against the Bulls, but really good defence. They stayed in there and they finished when they had the chance. A classic smash and grab away win. That's what you want, but the Bulls, they're going to be livid with themselves. The first try there for Northampton, a lovely offload from Finn Smith, George Hendy to finish, but then a really poor missed tackle from Fraser Dingwall on Marcel Coetzee, the flanker, and it looked like it was a try apiece at half-time, but we had a funny incident where it was a yellow card for Yogan because the scrum was struggling a bit, but in a killer phase of play, Northampton get the ball back, Langdon bumps off a man, Mitchell a brilliant half-break and offload, and Augustus scores the try that kind of, finished the half on and up. And that was the story of the game. Northampton executing, the Bulls not. Alex Mitchell is a big plus. He was missing for the first half of the season. Now he's back, or the first bit of the season, and his opportunist 50-22 was amazing, setting up a slick line-out move that Tommy Freeman barreled over from round the back of the line-out. But then the Bulls came back with the quality that is Cameron Hanekom. Now, he's got cap for South Africa, and he probably will be the next South African 8. Visa's been holding that down for a while now, but this guy just looks very special. Amazing speed, power as well, just barrels through defenders with 2 straight number 8 picks, beating defenders, handing off the ref for good measure, and those 2 amazing tries got it back to within a point with 10 minutes to go, but it's Northampton that finished the strongest, a Smith penalty, and then a magic draw and give from Hutchinson, brilliant draw, and a skip flat pass to Freeman for his second try with a match winner. Cracking game, amazing 2 from 2, and that away win, fantastic, and they're surely going to progress from the group now, you would say. It's just, are they going to get a home draw, which is so important, I think. Yes, they won away, but that was very, very hard. But then to the next match, we're back to the normal theme where the home side is rampant against a weakened away side. This time Harlequins making hay against the Stormers. Understrength team, yes, we know these teams have injuries, etc., but still, this was embarrassing for the Stormers as Harlequins eventually cut loose. I mean, there is a scenario where there are no South African clubs in the knockout stages. That would be a disaster. But anyway, the Quins' attack and counter-attack was so skillful. Winger Murley, Dombrandt, they bagged hat-tricks each, and Dombrandt operates a bit like a winger anyway at times. Stormers never looked like winning this one, but I think the fans will be happy because it was just such an exciting atmosphere, even though it wasn't really a contest, to be honest. So that's the first win for Harlequins in this pool stage, but they're going to have to get a little bit extra, although bonus points could squeak them through, who knows. They've got Toulon away and then Glasgow at home, so they need to get something from these games. If they hoover up some bonus points, like I said, that could be enough because it is 4 from 6 that qualify. Then in the Sunday games, we had Benetton 22, Bath 21. Bath, they were the English side that sent a weakened side away from home this time, and they got punished. I mean, they nearly got away with it when they rolled on their subs, and for the first 20 minutes of the second half, they had a bit of a resurgence, took the lead, but Benetton had loads of chances, nearly blew it, to be honest, but finally crossed to score. Now, I think there were 3 players that were starting from the last round, so very much changed. It definitely was weaker. They were kind of blown away in that first half by some just sound basic play from Benetton. They had a break glass in case of emergency bench, and they used it early in the second half. Kutsia came on, Thomas Atoy, we had Hill come on as well, and that made a bit of a difference. Miles Reid was brilliant. He started both games, and he could be one of those players that never makes it into international because he's probably not quite big enough. A bit like Harding, I think, from Bristol. Now, the first of the comeback tries for Bath looked really good. It was an offload from Redpath to Reid, who slips a tackle, feeds Josh Bayliss. He's so good operating down the wing. The TMO thinks it's a forward pass, says it's a clear forward pass, but actually the ref rules it out, so fair play to him to overturn it. So it actually is a try, and a nice wide kick from Bailey, who slotted a couple of nice wide ones. Then the game was back to 17-14. Bath have all the momentum for that 20 minutes after half-time. The Toy uses his bulk to grind over, and they take the lead 17-21. And you think they've got away with this, but then Benetton wake up, and they've got a good bench as well. Albanoz, who's been a star for Argentina, I think he moves to fullback from 10. He sets up some good attacks. Brex is on, and it looks like he powers over. He's an absolute beast in the centres. But the TMO spots separation on grounding, so it looks like a massive stroke of luck. Maybe they're going to just hold out the game, but 3 big chances, 2 2-on-1 overlaps completely butchered by Benetton, but then on the last play they do get over, and yeah, Bath deserve to lose. You can't field such a weak team away from home against a decent team like Benetton and expect to win. I mean, they played a bit of a gamble there where it goes, we'll go full bore at home against La Rochelle and we think we can win, and they didn't quite. And then we can send a weakened team to Benetton and just about win, but they didn't quite, and now they're 2 losses from 2, and they need to pull something out of the bag to qualify. Then we had Stade Francais 17, Saracens 28. Saracens didn't do a Bath. They sent their full-strength team to Stade Francais, and they got what they deserved. They got a really strong away win, although definitely a red card helped. It was the French international flanker, Macalou, who absolutely sinks his team. He trips up Van Zyl, the scrum half, then piles on into his head when he's down. Just madness, straight red there. No 20-minute red card law to save him there. And that was the story of the game, really, as it turned the game. The story before the game for Saracens was the return of Liam Williams to the Saracens fold for his second debut. Still 33, but absolutely class, and he scores the first try, so that's a good story there. They had an extra man, and they converted nicely. Daly, a lovely pass for the score, and Daly is still playing as well as he can. And for a guy his age, he's a little bit slower, but his skills are great. His kicking is fantastic. Fergus Burke nudges over a couple of nice penalties. They're ahead at the break, 10-13. And then if it wasn't hard enough for Stad, Halafanua, he cops a yellow. They're down to 13 for a bit, and Saracens maul over nice and easily. Jamie George dots down. Quality stuff from the Saracens pack. So that is 10-18. Earl nearly scores from a charge down, but he knocks it on in the build-up. Rhys Carey then cops the sin bin, so their momentum stunted a little bit. And Stad fullback Leo Barre scores a lovely wraparound play, so that gets it back to 17-21, 10 minutes to go. But Sarries, they get control of the game. The maul again, a massive weapon, forces another yellow card, then a try, this time for a replacement hooker, Theo Dan. And that's the game, 17-28. No bonus point, which is a shame, but if you said an away win in Stade Francais, you would absolutely take it. So they're sitting really nicely to get a last 16 spot. But of course, for all these sides, they're going to want a home draw, which means top 2 spaces in the pool, so still plenty to play for, but brilliant first 2 rounds for Saracens. Then the last game of the round for English sides was Exeter against Toulouse, and we kind of knew what was going to happen as soon as we saw Toulouse were bringing their best side over. And Exeter, they fought hard, but we had Dupont, you had Ramos, Jack Willis. All those great players were there, and they battered them, to be honest, even though Exeter tried really hard. But that speed of ball movement is amazing. Exeter looked like they aligned really well, but Toulouse find a way. Dupont found a way very quickly at the beginning of the game to go over. And then we had an amazing third try. Barassi nearly goes the length of the pitch and sets up Lebel. Then a little bit of a fight back from Exeter as their main attacking threat, Emmanuel Faye-Wabusu, does what he does well, breaking tackles and feeding Wyatt for a good score, but the bonus point is wrapped up before half-time. Just as it looks like Exeter are defending well, Dupont finds the magic pass, and the rangy, quick second row Flamand, the former winger, goes in out wide. and the rest of the game is fairly academic, as Toulouse wrap up that bonus point, and they've definitely qualified from their group. It's just, can they secure their home semi? You think they would, and they're looking very, very strong. So please let me know what you made of all those games in the comments down below. Do like, do subscribe, that would be amazing, and I'll catch you next time.